Good afternoon, Ireland, and I hope ye are enjoying every inch of this lovely sunshine, right? I was just seeing a couple of the newspapers. I was looking at one in particular. It's just the headlines, right? And it was about the protest yesterday. And it is 19 arrested at a protest in the capital, right? And again, like myself, people will go in and just glance at front pages of newspapers while you're waiting in the queue or whatever, right? And you'll just see, Jesus, 19 arrests at a protest. Must have been scandalous, carry on, right? One point on that, or a couple of points. I'll probably meander as we go, but a couple of points on it at least. Anyway, being arrested is not synonymous with breaking the law, okay? People seem to think that just because you're arrested, you've done something wrong. That's not always the case. Because if that was the case, you have to assume that the gardai do their job correctly 100% of the time. They are free from human error and from mistakes, or from corruption even, okay? Or from abuses of power, right? So just because someone is arrested, you should not automatically assume that they're guilty of committing a crime in any way. And this is something that the Irish people, we as Irish people, struggle with. We tend to ride a strange line, and we tend to move between different sides of the fence, between what we consider a social annoyance or a social faux pas, something that you just shouldn't do, right? Shouldn't be doing that, and breaking the law. We tend to confuse both. So people tend to assume that if someone is doing something that they see as wrong socially and that they shouldn't be doing it, that would justify them being arrested. Okay? But they're not the same thing. They're very, very different things. We have laws for a reason, right? And you can do the most annoying of things to people, but so long as you're not breaking any law, there's no need to arrest you. So what you'll have is, unfortunately, and as frustrating as it is, you have people who may not agree with people protesting. In general, they may not agree with the reasons put forward for these people protesting. And based on that difference of opinion, they assume that because someone or a group of people are doing something you don't agree with or you don't like, that would justify them being removed from where they are and what they're doing, even though they're not breaking the law. Okay? This is something that Irish people really need to get to grips with. We're either going to follow our morality or our social conscience and build a society up from that and be damned with law, or we're going to follow law and understand and be humble enough to recognise when you're making a judgment based on personal preference and when you're making a judgment based on legal or lawful activities or standards, lawful standards, okay? And the second thing I want to get at is, I love the fact that people are protesting. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. And why? Because I love when people stand up to something that they see as wrong. You know, when people do something that they believe in their heart to be correct and believe in their heart to be right. Okay? And by all intents and purposes, they're on the moral high ground, those that are protesting. Because what they tend to be protesting for is the ability to determine and have a say in what goes on in their country and be listened to, and to have public representatives represent the views of the people instead of getting into office and making their own arbitrary decisions or their own decisions based on some sort of groupthink that they're involved in, to the detriment of the people that they're there to serve and to the detriment of the people who pay their way, right? So anyone standing up against that stuff, absolutely love it, and you'd be remembered fondly for it, right? But you will also have people who say there's no point in protesting, the government isn't listening, and they're just going to wait you out because you'll only be there for a certain period of time and then you'll go home and things will carry on the same. Yeah, to a large degree, yeah, that is the way things go, right? But there are benefits to a protest that may not be the desired aim of the protest itself, or those in the protest, the desired aim of those in the protest of what they want, right? And one of them is phones. Everyone is there recording. The guards have now got body cams on them, which you're allowed to go in and through a Freedom of Information request, you can go in and request the body cams of Gardaí as long as you have their identification number. So people can do that. And that'd be great to get the other side of guards at work, right? See the thinking behind the decisions they're making. See what communication is coming in that is pushing them to make certain decisions. Are they making decisions based off of their own understanding of the law and based on their own understanding of the situation around them? Or are they being directed to do things? Is there any sort of autonomous thinking involved there, right? But back to people, the protesters. Most people there are recording what's going on, right? And they're recording the actions of the Gardaí and other people around as well. But I was just watching a video there where someone, I think I put the video up actually, but whatever. So, silver lining of the protest. People are recording things. They're recording the behaviour of the Gardaí. In Newtown, Mount Kennedy, you can, the best example, you can see the Gardaí with their shields and pepper spray and all that, and they're suited and booted, and you have a woman right before the Gardaí charge at them, saying, "Women and children up at the front." 2 seconds later, the Gardaí rushed them, right? Or the public order, whatever you want to call it, right? These little order followers, right? That they decide to rush them then. But if that wasn't recorded, that just goes down as legend, and you can say, "Ah, look, there's legs that get added on to things. It wasn't that bad." But you can see it now. You can watch it nearly in real time, the behaviour of these guards, and it begs the question: what decisions are they making, and under what lawful framework are they making these decisions? Because there's plenty of attempts, and I think we're getting there now. There's plenty of evidence that Gardaí are steamrolling people's constitutional rights in this country, right? And I suppose when you're speaking to some of these guards as well, some of them are grand, right? Some of them don't want to be involved in it, especially locally. You're kind of in the wrong job then if you're not willing to go along with the crowd there, because you tend to be forced out, right? But other ones, they treat you with a disdain and a smugness and an arrogance that is almost confusing when you first encounter it. It's like, whoa, hang on a second, I'm just asking a question, and you're treating me like I'm an automatic criminal, right? It's bizarre stuff. But it allows you into their psychology a little bit, because it seems to paint the picture of a person who believes that they can treat a regular human being who's not doing anything wrong in whatever way they wish, which would say to me at least that they're not worried of consequences. They're not worried of professional disciplinary action or anything like that, right? Which would imply that this is the way they're trained. And you can see it as well in interactions. They always have to get the last word, right? They always have to try and frame you as a criminal or a potential criminal. So you can have a perfectly reasonable conversation, and you could explain to them that what I'm doing here is perfectly legal and constitutionally protected, and they'll walk away, and instead of going, "You know what, you're dead right, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that everyone behaves in a lawful manner." They'll walk away saying, "Just make sure you stay off that road now," right? Just these kind of having to get the last word stuff. And this is all being captured in real time, and we get to see it after that, right? This is all being captured, it's all being recorded. And I think Irish people are getting to a place now where they're starting to kind of go, hang on a second, just because you have this job does not mean that you get to treat me a certain way. Great. And now we can move forward into the lawful stuff, right? of what is a constitution, what are naturally God-given rights. Is it the constitution that gives you the rights? Is it the state that gives you the rights? Or is it a constitution that just enshrines these naturally innate rights that people have? Yes, in which case no other human being has given you them rights. Therefore, no other human being can take them away from you. Right? And this is where Irish people are starting to get that. And I think the more court cases, the more of these stupid public order charges that people face, when there's no crime committed, right? And if there is, then fine, off you go. Follow the rule of law and let justice be served, right? Lovely stuff. We all love that. To a degree anyway, right? But that's a different conversation. But the more of these court cases that come up, the more, I won't say bold, I'll say brave. It's bold in the face of tyranny, brave in how you go about it, right? Because standing in court is an unnerving thing, it's an unsettling thing, it has the potential to ruin you, right? Unless you know what you're talking about, and you don't allow yourself to get steamrolled by these people, right? So the more people that end up here, the more educated people are going to get, because you're going to anticipate that if you continue to protest and exercise your constitutionally protected rights to organise and to protest peacefully, right? The likelihood of you ending up in court, it nearly grows exponentially based on the amount of protests you attend, right? So people are going to want to be able to defend themselves appropriately against that. So you're going to have people that start getting very, very educated about the law, and hopefully you're going to start seeing some of these videos being introduced into evidence. You're going to start seeing some of these guards meet the appropriate disciplinary action. And that is one of the benefits of protest. People who ordinarily won't go to protests, now they get to see video recordings of what these public servants are up to when they're not there and when they're not watching. And they can make their own decisions. They might go, yeah, well, look, I'm totally in support of the guards. They're all great, and never a bad move did the guard make. Off you go. But you'll be met with the truth. And you can deny that or you can accept that. You know? Because otherwise people are living in their own little fantastically created worldviews, which aren't really based on the reality of what we're seeing in this country. So that is one of the benefits of protesting that we all get to enrich ourselves from. So, and we don't get that unless people get out and they exercise their constitutionally protected rights. People that your grandfathers and great-grandfathers, they gave their lives for. Some of us anyway, right? Some of us, they gave their lives so you will be able to do these things. So if you want to turn around now a century or whatever later, after the near millennia of great Irish people who stood up, if you want to turn around now and say, well, I don't really care about that, I just want the guards to get these people off the streets. Fair enough, but you're just revealing what you are then, okay? And it's a shame that we are sitting here, after the history that we have as Irish people, and just as human beings, that we are involved in these conversations, and we have to have these conversations over and over and over again. It's a shame, because nobody is having fun with these things, right? Unless you're a total sadist. Nobody's enjoying any of these things that are going on. Nobody wants to be out locking horns with the state, okay? Or potentially putting their whole professional career or their livelihoods and their families' name, their ability to make money, their ability to pay off bills, and whatever the case is, their ability to shelter themselves and their family. Nobody wants to be out putting that at risk. Nobody does. So again, and look, I'll always make this appeal as well, because I don't think there's any point in writing off everybody all the time, right? But any guards this is not sitting well with you, and you can see it when, at some of these events, some of these guards you talk to, you can see they're not committed to this. They're not committed to it. But they're locked into the rat race. They're locked into the economic pressures and the burdens of having to continuously provide in a system that will just take everything from you if you trip yourself up once, right? Or if you make one late payment, your things could be gone for you. I understand that a lot of guards are in that same position. You also get a smaller percentage of guards that love it. They love going out, they love riling you up, they love getting a reaction out of you, and they love using force against you, right? So be wary of them. Give them absolutely nothing. Don't give them any reason. And I would suggest as well that at future protests, stone silence. Don't say a word to them. Stone silence. Go about your business, do what you're doing. Don't say one single thing to them. Just stand there silence. There is, because if there's people agitated and animated and shouting and cursing or whatever the case, people write that off easily. They'll go, look at the way they're speaking to. Of course they should be arrested. People write that off easily. So if you want to play a bit of the optics game, stone silence. Let the guards come and arrest people that are standing there stone silent. Let them come and tackle people to the ground that are standing there stone silent. Let them do that. And again, the beauty of this, the day we live in, it's all recorded now. And you also, the beauty of these body cams, Helen McEntee, thank you very much. You can go and request all of these body cams. Freedom of information requests. You can go and fill them out in the guard station. You can do them online. I would suggest going in, doing both. I would suggest going in doing them in the guard station. Get the numbers of these people, get the badge numbers or the cuff numbers. Identify the guards involved and go and request their body cam footage. Beautiful stuff. Thank you. The day is ours.